I think a lot of the elements of this project were born out of these ideas of how do you combine both the scientific narrative as well as a product narrative in an efficient way, in a useful way. And then also my own frustrations with the shortcomings of OpenCourseWare and boot camps. I've had some good experiences with them. I've had some terrible experiences with them. And I found a lot of missing links in kind of my own personal education. So trying to think through how could we design a project that could address some of these gaps, of which there were numerous gaps. So the idea was to take a piece of research that was very well written, and we'll get into some of those aspects because I would love to talk with you about some of the design choices, communication choices that you used to make such an effective piece of literature. So we wanted to take that kind of research and replicate it first, because I think that that's the fastest path towards understanding, is just doing something where you have a target, kind of a gold standard to replicate. And then also taking in design considerations. So what could have changed about this work? How could you have actually changed something about this work? And talking through with our teams, what are different areas for extensions? Because I also think this is a very undersung component to data science education, is oftentimes we start a project, we get swept up in choices, we pick one route and we finish it. Very rarely do we revisit it and say, if we had altered this aspect in a counterfactual design way, what would have changed about our final results? And so not having the luxury of doing that in an actual internship or course project, trying to think of ways at which, even just posing, what are the different design considerations in a pipeline? So that's where this project started, is first replicating this work, then asking what could have changed about this work. Are there advancements in technology? And that's another benefit to picking something that was from 2015, is I wanted something where there would be a delta in the available toolkits, just to start asking, okay, what could we do today that was impossible back then? But now we have lessons learned. And that's the way kind of the machine learning space moves, is every couple of years, it seems like there's a brand new toolkit to explore. So that's how we kind of set this up. That was the ethos of this project, is mostly focused on this replication to begin understanding a new domain. As Debelina mentioned, everybody, even myself included, this was kind of a new problem. This was a new area, and that posed its own challenges. Even just learning the vocabulary, it took us all a while to orient ourselves. But that's, I think, the reality of being a data scientist or machine learning engineer in this space, is getting adjusted to a new area quickly. So with that being said, that was kind of how we built this out. We split it into modules where each different phase of this research kind of had an input and an output. So the input may be the raw data, an output may be the full parse of all of the sentences from the Stanford parser. So by splitting it into an input-output pair, we could kind of set up boundaries, formalize this week or this module. What do we start with? What do we end with? And that helped it feel a little bit more like a traditional problem setup or sort of course directive, where there was a very clearly defined objective. And similarly, we kind of phrased it as a deliverable per module. So with that being said, that's kind of my background. That's an overall description of the project. I'm sure we'll get into some details.